that last. And the only female I noticed, but that doesn't... Look, I heard Cam say he's not going to... Yeah, it was very equal. Mentioned the foreign corporation, and that's what I want to inform you about. Does everybody know who the two consortia are? Connex, owned by Veolia, and the other one? Degramont's not in with a chance because they have been underwritten by the Bank of Scotland, which is the gurgler, and John Holland. So they're possibly not going to be it, but Veolia wants it. They want to be here. I just want to point out to you that if you think what we've heard today is bad, wait until we get Veolia running and selling and managing our water. They're a company that's been around in various guises for over 153 years. After the Second World War, they went into all the beaten up places in Europe and they saw a chance to make a buck. People needed infrastructure, so they went at it. All credit to them. But at the same time, they decided that they had to have, in tandem with that, a financial component. And that is where they are driven from, making a profit like most big corporations. What I want to point out to you today, though, is that they have human rights records that are absolutely beyond the pale. As they were trading as Vivendi in the Philippines, they went in there to supply water to the Filipinos. 70 people died of cholera, 700 were sick, and Veolia just walked out. You can stick a pin on anywhere on the globe and you will see where Veolia have been and their human rights abuses. They've caused enormous suffering to the indigenous people in South America. They have walked away from contracts. I'm just really a bit disappointed that our media hasn't actually focused on this company. Why aren't we asking? And I'd ask you all to do this. Go to Ask the Premier, pull out your Google finger, Google it, and it's Ask the Premier. You pay to get right through to it. And ask him, why are we preparing to do business with this huge multi-corporation that is just incredibly appalling? It's starting to be noticed around the world. The Irish kicked them out. They don't want them. They're being kicked out in England because not only do they supply water, but they've got their finger in so many pies: transport, waste management, incineration, and they're tough players, and they want to win. And the thing about Veolia, the company, is there doesn't seem to be in France this idea that you can be with the private sector and not have direct contact with the government. You can walk out of the government of France one day and be a director of Veolia the next, and vice versa. And I just have to refer to my notes here, folks, because this is really important. They're just a scandalous lot. It's just an absolute scandalous lot. For anybody else, I saw somebody with the union. I love the union on their jacket. So people think that it's going to be wonderful to work for Veolia. Listen to this. That a trade unionist called Per Johansson in Sweden, who's actually the union representative or the chairman of the union, was sacked by Veolia because he had dared to stand up for the rights of his workers. Out you go, we don't want you, and that's what they do. So don't think you're going to be in the life of luxury when you're working for Veolia. They won't give a rat's cheek. They will march over anybody and anyone. And they probably see our weak, expedient government, Brumby holding, as just laughable. And the other thing that this crowd do is that when they sign contracts, we all heard that the contract's going to be signed. Nobody actually knows what's in these contracts. Well, they've actually been able to track down what sort of things Veolia want in their contract, and they want things like, no matter what's going on in the country that we're dealing with, if it goes to war, if there's 50,000 hurricanes and earthquakes, Corribara, the big one, they still want their money, and they still want it at a premium, and they make sure, and this is the thing that interests me, they make sure with their, what they call their maintenance, financial maintenance, that everything that they build over there in that big building, and yes, they are the leaders in desalination technology, they make sure they are, but they make sure that everything they put in there has got a use-by date, and trust me, your milk probably lasts longer, and in comes the new stuff, and I've got tariffs. And that's how they work. Nothing remains, you know, for very long before they're in with the new, up the rate. Now those poor people I was was talking about in the Philippines that died and was sick. Oh, I'll just finish on this. They were expected to pay 10% of their wages. 10%. I don't know how much they earned, but it wouldn't be much. And that's how much they demanded. What? Finish. Okay, yeah, well, anyway, please Google, figure out and ask the Premier why are we doing business with such a greedy, ruthless and scandalously whatever company. We don't want them here.